Hey everybody, Bill Jeppy here, Kimberly Vassal's Insurance Beer Snob. It has been a long time since I last came to you. Beard is gone, hair is cut. It's the Christmas season. This is our Christmas episode. Wanted to bring a few beers to you today that aren't from the area. I know I usually try to do that, but they are readily available in the Delaware, Pennsylvania, Maryland area. They're two beers from markets that I actually was out in this year, which is from trips that I took, which is pretty special to me. One of them is Rogue, which is out in Oregon, and this is their Santa's Private Reserve Ale. And the other one is Goose Island, which is in Chicago. So I was in Chicago in April, and I was in Oregon back in late summer with my wife. And two big name breweries from both of those areas, and these are both of their holiday ales. Again, there's plenty of breweries in the area that are making holiday beers that you can obviously pick up on the shelf. One, is very popular is the Trogs Mad Elf. But I wanted to get two beers that I knew you guys could get. Were funny and Christmassy themed, and give you some reviews on them. And they're actually two beers I've never had before. So I'm gonna get this first one into the glass. I think we'll go with the Rogue first, and tell you what I think about them. So we got the first one into the glass, and again I went with the Rogue Santa's Private Reserve Ale. So this is their Christmas ale. Again, Rogue is from Newport, Oregon. It's a coastal Oregon town. I was able to drive right past there and get some of their beers while we were out in Oregon this summer. The cool thing about Rogue with their bottles is they actually give you a lot of the ingredients on the side. So I'm not going to bore you with those right now, but it also gives you food pairings, which is also cool. So this is actually I think it's about a 6% alcohol red ale. Basically true to the style. It's almost like a reddish ambery color. It's a little hazy, you really can't see a lot through it. The head's an off-white, about finger to a finger and a half when I first poured it. Looks to be really nicely carbonated. I'm seeing tons of bubbles coming up, and this there's no bottle date on this, but I know it's from this year. The bottle shop that I bought it at, rotates pretty well, so it didn't sit on the shelf or anything like that. So I think it's available. Pretty much Rogue is available nationwide. The big thing with them, they don't bottle date. You got to really check some of the stuff and make sure the bottle shop you're buying it from is legitimate. So I'm going to take a sniff of this one. So red ales, I've never had. I think I've had an Imperial Red Ale, Nugget Nectar back in the day on. Red ales are a little bit bigger on the malt bill than say your Pale Ale, your IPA. Obviously leading to a little bit more of a red color. Tasting notes, you'll probably get the hoppiness like you would on an IPA or a Pale Ale, but you're also going to get some of that maltiness, some nuttiness from the malt that they're using in them. And on the nose here, I'm getting a lot of hops, which is great. And in the background, you definitely you get some of that biscuity quality and some of that nuttiness as well. So I'm going to dig right in, guys. Yeah, it's very nicely done. Not mind-blowingly hoppy or anything like that. You get a little bit of bitterness on the tip of the tongue. In the middle of the mouth, you're really getting some of that piney, hoppy character that you might get in some East Coast IPAs and some Midwest IPAs. The other thing you notice in the middle of the mouth is kind of that caramelly, nutty, biscuit quality from the malts that they're using in this. And I actually think it says on here what they're using. Actually, it does not. I apologize. Probably some caramel malt and some crystal, I think it said on there. But really, that's kind of what you're tasting in the mid palate. So, up front, a little bit of bitterness from the hops, moving towards the middle of the mouth, a little bit more, but also some of that balancing from the malts that are in the red ale. On the finish, it's dry, as you would have from an IPA or a Pale Ale. There are some lingering flavors, lingering pine and some lingering malt. But really, it's just a nice sip. And at 6% alcohol, you could drink a couple of these and not worry about it. It's a good beer for the season because it's got a little bit more body than some of the lagers and stuff that people normally drink. So it'll warm you up a little bit. So if I was going to go overall on this one, it's a solid beer. I'd probably give it a high 80s, 88. Really can't hate on it. I've actually seen it on the shelf many a time and never picked it up. But 88's a good score. Again, B plus category. Something worth checking out if you want to try something new. I know they have them in these 22-ounce bottles, but they also have them in 12-ounce six packs. So keep an eye out for Rogue or any other Rogue beers that are out there. They do have a lot, so there's a lot to choose from. So give them a check next time you're at your local beer store. I'm going to enjoy this here and maybe share with the cameraman Matt, and we're going to get into the Goose Island Christmas Ale in a second here. Cheers. Okay guys, so we're into the second beer now. This is again the Goose Island Christmas Ale. This is done yearly by them, and this one was bottled on the 5th of November, so a little over a month here. Again, Goose Island is Chicago, Illinois. Big craft beer producer for the last couple years. I think 88 they started, maybe a little bit later than that. Big deal with them is that they were purchased by Anheuser-Busch a couple years ago. Kind of scorned a lot of craft beer fans by doing that, and what they said selling out, but still they've reserved a few of their products on the higher end tier that are still done at their small brew pub, and have outsourced some of the more commercialized beers to Anheuser-Busch, thusly making them more available to us. So they recently came into the Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland market, I want to say about 6 months ago, last spring at least. So this is the first year we're getting their Christmas ale. And so what the Christmas ale is this year is a brown ale. I think they tinker with the recipe every year. I don't know if it's a brown ale every year or it is a brown ale and they just tinker with the recipe and do different hop varietals or different malt bills. But with this one, it doesn't tell you what the hops were in it. I had a little printout earlier that I was looking at, and I think it has Munich and a pale malt and some other things in it. But a little background on brown ales: it's not a style that every brewer wants to do because it's kind of boring, and everybody wants to do more big, crazy styles with all the ingredients, a la Dogfish Head, who we've had on here before. Brown ale actually gets pushed to the wayside, and there are some tasty brown ales out there. This just from outwardly looking at it, it's light for a brown ale in my opinion. It said on the label that it was supposed to be more of a chocolate hue, and this seems more of a deep amber. I mean, it's darker than the Sanders Reserve that we just had, but still it's nicely God, what am I looking for here? Clarity is pretty good. It's a deep ruby amber color. We looked at the head when we first poured it. It really wasn't a lot on there, but there is some good carbonation here. It's kind of an off-white ring of head right now, and I can conjure up a little bit more by swirling it. So I'm going to dig in. And normally with brown ales, you're going to get more of that nuttiness I spoke of with the red ale, but even more of it and more pronounced chocolate character, sometimes a coffee character. I kind of look at brown ales as they're bordering on porters. So if you're going to go a scale of darkness, you've got a brown ale, you've got a porter, and you've got a stout. And so I always look at the brown ale as kind of your entry level before you dig into the bigger dark beers, if you'd say. So usually we get some coffee and some chocolate notes. In here I'm getting more hoppy notes, more like a red ale, like we just had before. The alcohol on this is 7.3, so it's a little higher than the Sanders Reserve, so give it a try. Okay, so the difference here is I might be pulling a little bit of chocolate out of it, more of that caramel note. Seems like they've ramped up the malt bill more so than the Sanders Private Reserve, where that was like a hoppy red ale, so more hops, more pine, pronounced dryness on the back end. I do get that nuttiness, mild chocolate, not a lot of coffee or anything like that, but it's very pleasant. It's definitely something you can drink, and around this time of year for sure. Yeah, predominant flavor here is the malt character. That nuttiness is really the maker of this beer. You're not getting, even though they've used a good amount of hops, it's only a mild bitterness, and really it's some good flavors in the mid-mouth, in that mild chocolate nutty character. Finish isn't quite as dry as the red ale, because you're not getting that real bitter pine note. it's fairly dry, but on the back end you're getting you know, the more chocolatey notes and that character. You know, overall here again, Christmas ale. Usually I would expect some spice blend like we had last year. If you remember the Sly Fox beer that John Salgado and I enjoyed. This is not like that. This is a Christmas brown ale, more traditional, streamlined, no spices. Very nice. I actually hate to do this, but I'd probably go the same. Another 87, 88 here. Solid V beer. Definitely, you know, if you see it and you're interested, give it a whirl. It's not gonna, you know, kill you to have one or two of these again. It doesn't seem like the alcohol is pronounced at all. Complete honesty, this one actually tastes less alcoholic than the other one, and it has a little bit more, so you never really can tell. But yeah, it's something to check out. I'd also advise checking out other Goose Island beers. It's really, they're really doing good things. Their IPA actually won gold medal at World Great American Beer Festival back in October. Readily available now in this market, so if you see them on the shelf, give them a whirl. I'm going to continue drinking this, and I am going to share with our cameraman again, Matt Stein. He doesn't get a lot of recognition, but great work this year on all the beer videos. We might get another one up before the new year. He and I are going to enjoy these two right now, and I'm going to leave you with this. I want you guys to enjoy great beers over the holiday season, but I want you to be safe. Don't go out there and do something you'll regret in the future. So have a great, happy holiday season. Be sure to spend it with people you love, and again, be safe and enjoy great beers. Cheers.